welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's a Friday morning, and of course we welcome you back to the show, our final one of 2019. And at the tail end of the year, what better time to look back at the momentous 2019 that has brought us technological innovations, triumphs, failures, scares, and successes. And here to help us make sense of this year's biggest technology news stories is our resident friend in tech, Bryan Smith. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much for being back, and what a year it's been.
What a year.
Literally, what a year it's been. We've seen so many videos going viral because of this specific app, and I think it's the most silent success story. I'm talking about the social media app TikTok. Why is it so successful with, I think, over 1 billion downloads?
So this is absolutely amazing, and I think as you were just saying off air, if you're over 16, there's a chance you've never heard of this.
Yeah.
But if you're under 16, there's a chance you're using this every single day. It's perhaps one of the biggest success stories in social media yet. And essentially what TikTok has done is take the format of stories and live video content that Facebook, Instagram, even Snapchat have tried, and it's really made it successful with a younger generation. It's essentially a platform where you can share your talents, perhaps a skit, comedy, anything perhaps like from Vine back in the day, if you happen to remember that social
what
messaging.
happened to that?
We don't talk about Vine, it lives on here.
It lives on in our hearts.
But this is essentially one of the most unprecedented successes, especially in capturing a youthful audience. And it's likely that sort of as this generation that uses TikTok and is sort of really familiar with using TikTok grows up, this is going to change the way we experience and use social media, from the content we create to the content we watch.
Yeah. And of course, as Mark Zuckerberg moves forward to take an even bigger piece of the pie that is the world and our lives, he launched forth with a plan to get into cryptocurrency.
Absolutely.
Some kind of cryptocurrency.
So this was perhaps the most surprising news of 2019 coming from Facebook, and especially a company that's really been dogged by privacy scandals the past couple of years. So essentially what Facebook's Libra token is, or was, is essentially based on the same cryptocurrency protocols and principles that Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, digital currencies might be. The plan was to create a currency that can be used in the Facebook app, in different messaging platforms, and in partners such as MasterCard. However, given some regulatory sort of purview from organizations around the world, Libra's coming under increasing pressure. A number of those partners, such as MasterCard, have now pulled out from the alliance that would foster this cryptocurrency. So it remains to be seen if we're actually going to see this develop. But what it does open the door for is for other companies to go forth and create their own currencies, to think about how they can create economies within their own apps of sharing, of exchanging value between users. And that's going to be a real big thing to look forward to going into the future.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. And then Elon Musk, he had a bump of a year, right? With his company SpaceX. But then remind us, what is Starlink and what makes it so significant?
So perhaps one of the most powerful ideas of this decade is we've succeeded in connecting more than 2 billion, 3 billion people to the internet. But that's not enough if you consider that we've got an emerging population of more than 7.5 billion people in the world. So how do we connect those remaining people is really the biggest challenge, because many of them live in rural regions around the world, regions that's typically quite difficult to access in terms of internet connectivity. So we've seen different ideas from the likes of Google and Facebook. What SpaceX under Elon Musk have come up with is a plan to create a geosynchronous, so tethered to orbit, satellite network that can beam down high-speed broadband to locations all around the world. And this essentially is the plan to begin creating almost a worldwide Wi-Fi network, if you will, of availability of hotspots where people from all descriptions around the world can connect to the internet easily.
And it kind of slaps you like cold reality when you think about the fact that at the end of this year we're closing off the decade. And as we look to start a new one, what would you say is the single most significant technology news story of this year, maybe the past decade as well, that will be influenced by?
I think there have been many, many great and interesting, scary advents this past decade, but I don't think there's been one that will change as much going forward in the realm of social media, in the realm of privacy, how we consider our data, than Facebook's Cambridge Analytica scandal, which is where users' data was accessed improperly to influence the results of the previous US election in which Donald Trump was elected president. I think this is going to be seen as the watershed moment in terms of how users interact with their privacy. It'll change how social media platforms and social experiences are built, and I think it's going to be one of the most powerful ideas going into the next decade of how much of your own data do you own and what can be done with it?
Yeah, and it kind of hasn't really stopped, because that momentum gathered from the day he was elected into office to his very recent impeachment and the ripple effect of that.
Absolutely. If you consider President Obama sort of perfected the idea of virality in his election campaign, but President Trump's campaign trail essentially was about mastering, manipulating user data to create really powerful ads to sway voters.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a massive thing to consider going forward.
Into the world of deepfakes.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much, Bryan Smith. It's been an absolute pleasure having you expert knowledge all throughout the year. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the world of technology. Let us know what are some of the exciting news stories from a technological point of view that have, of course, engrossed your imagination of the past year.